Parasitoid wasps face a brutal mathematical problem. They must provide fresh meat for their young, which requires keeping the victim entirely alive so that the internal tissues remain perfectly preserved. The emerald jewel wasp hunts the American cockroach, a target several times its own mass. This creates a mechanical hurdle. If the wasp kills or paralyzes the roach into a deadweight, the tiny predator physically cannot drag its prize back to an underground burrow. To secure a living nursery for its offspring, the wasp bypasses physical restraint and employs a targeted biological override. Instead of attacking the cockroach's limbs, the wasp hacks directly into its nervous system. While standard animal venoms act as chemical straitjackets to stop muscle function, this specific cocktail leaves the muscles intact while erasing the biological drive to use them. The wasp acts as a microscopic neurosurgeon, administering a precise sequence of chemical commands. The attack is a high-speed ambush. The wasp dives onto the roach's back, pinning it down to deliver a surgical sting directly into the thorax. This diagram shows the payload of the first sting, an injection of GABA. This compound triggers localized temporary paralysis of the front legs. This immobility only lasts a few minutes. It serves as a brief window for the wasp to deploy its primary weapon. The wasp slides its stinger deep into the paralyzed roach's headplate. It actively probes the brain tissue, searching for specific nerve clusters known as ganglia. This two-step injection shifts the encounter from a physical struggle into a total takeover of the cockroach's central nervous system. On a cellular level, venom molecules block receptors for octapamine, the neurotransmitter initiating movements like flight. With the escape response blocked, venom floods the brain with dopamine. This induces an unnatural calm, leaving the roach preoccupied with obsessive grooming rather than escape. The wasp then clips an antenna to drink some hemolymph for energy before leading the massive, passive roach toward the burrow by its remaining antenna. Inside the underground chamber, the wasp lays its egg on the living host. Over the next week, the larva consumes its internal organs, starting with fat and muscle, keeping vital systems functioning as long as possible. The roach has been transformed from an autonomous organism into a living life support machine for its own parasite. Researchers have discovered that the venom does not actually damage the cockroach's physical ability to move. When scientists place a zombified roach into water, the insect immediately executes complex, vigorous swimming mechanics to reach safety. The cockroach retains its physical capacity for flight or rapid escape. It simply lacks the neurochemical motivation to initiate those behaviors. True entrapment in this case is not the physical inability to run, but the biological deletion of the desire to survive. The biochemical tools used to hijack the cockroach are now serving as templates for human neuroscience. Researchers are currently isolating specific peptides within the venom called ambulexins. These ambulexins cause a reduction in spontaneous movement that maps directly onto the dopamine dysfunction pathways seen in Parkinson's disease. By reverse engineering how these molecules manipulate receptors, researchers are working toward developing targeted therapies for human movement and dopamine disorders. The life cycle of the emerald jewel wasp proves that evolution's most absolute form of control is the chemical rewriting of a host's decision-making.